Well, well, well,
We're back.
we're back. You have the link. We're scrolling to 1855,
Yes.
and you look lovely. Is that mauve? What is that color?
I think that's what they call mauve.
Yes, it's so cute. It's like a pinkish, purplish, light
Yes.
powdery rose purple. Wow, 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 wow,
My
wow,
favorite
wow.
shades.
We're getting closer to the birthday season.
Yeah. 420 kicked off yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna share and then play from
Yeah.
1845. Okay.
Okay. We should probably stop recording then and then start again.
Okay. I think it's just gonna have me share.
What happened? What happened? It didn't do.
Nothing happened per se. It's just I
Mm-hmm.
think as I started the process of sharing, I couldn't pause the recording.
Oh, got you, got you.
Yes.
Because my concern is to cut us off, so I wanted us to like
Oh,
have the
okay.
record of the
Well, we're at
maximum.
1848 now, and I'm gonna hit play.
Okay.
Is a fit for what I want to talk about or feel fit talking about. So by the time I actually get to create a profile that I can fall into, I, I know what I need to add into there, like what I'm into talking about, what I'm okay talking about, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that part of it was really helpful for me. Yeah. And even leading up to right now, the most recent one that I mentioned on the podcast, I think a couple episodes ago, about me opening the advice, I feel like I put the way that I created that profile, I wanted to do it from a very authentic space. Like I just put in a paragraph about my history and my experiences with regard to that sort of work, which I was able to figure out doing the phone sex calls. I was able to find what my space is in that sense. And I started doing this with, it was December 2019. So by the
Hmm.
time February and March of 2020 rolled around and we were getting into the pandemic, I was so excited that I had that um, online work that I can do, even keeping my son at home. And I think shortly at February 2020, just before the pandemic really hit, I actually had a friend reach out to me. So how it happened was so interesting, and that's why I told you, I I feel like I've just been guided through this entire journey of working on.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I had a moment where I was picking Soraya up from school and walking back up the hill with him, and I was thinking to myself, what else do I want to do? I want to do something else online, not just that. I want something else. So I was walking and I said, I think I want to do a writing job that makes X amount of money minimum monthly, and that would be good. That would be a good fit for me. And literally that day, when I got home, which was about 15 minutes after that, I got a phone call from a friend who just said, "Hey, are you interested in like having this job?" She literally had the exact job that I had just said I wanted, and decided in that moment that she wanted to leave the job, but she wanted to recommend somebody. And I was in awe. Like I asked for 15 minutes ago, and a friend reached out to me, and There we go. So I think that very week I met with her boss and interviewed for it, and that's what I've been doing for the entire pandemic. I started it up before the pandemic. And had I known that the pandemic was going to hit, I would have known exactly why I felt like, you know what, Dan, I get another. And it's so fitting because if I was still doing the sales jobs at that time, if I didn't choose to walk away from doing that type of work, it might have been a lot more difficult for me to get through working in the pandemic with Soleil because we were locked down entirely. Within maybe a couple of weeks of even finding out that the virus was on Ireland. And to be honest, as soon as I heard about the first case, I pulled him out of school because I felt like I didn't really need to. Honestly, I wouldn't have, under normal circumstances, I didn't send him to school every single day of the week. I had decided that, 3 to 4 days was fine enough for me. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I knew what it was like for me working with him at home. But having him at home with me every single day, 24 hours from mid-March throughout almost the entire pandemic was a very interesting experience. And I'm very grateful for having the work that I have, that I can do. I can choose the times that I work. I can choose where I decide to work. Just in general, I've even, went into at certain points in the pandemic when it was becoming overwhelming for me. I was able to go on to Fiverr and hire somebody, on a, not consistently, but when I need to, and give them some of my work to do when I feel like it's a lot.
Pause a second.
So that is.
So I just love how there are so many places, of course, our minds are going with the listening and reflecting on that time. And so I appreciate like the silence in the podcast, like the active listening that we're doing, and emoting and feeling, and the places where we know what we're both thinking but we're not saying, and the places where it's private, and it's private to us, not just private for the public but private to us, and just like taking that time to recollect and recognize like all those little gratitude points along the way, for everything that you're explaining here, but specifically the point I wanted to pause on was just giving thanks to how fresh you were in that work then, and how even in you being fresh then, how you were already an employer, how you had so much, you asked for it and then you got so much of it that it became a lot. You got so much work that it became a lot that you had to find and did find. You had the need to find, and then the access to find, and the will and the impetus and the action and the comfort to seek out and find and receive people who could help you with your workload, which were technically your employees, whether long-term or short-term contract.
Yeah.
That so many of us have been just in the minimal asking of this thing. You haven't even, I mean, even now you haven't done it for 5 years or 10 years. And it had been months, moments you had been doing it then. And look at how much acceleration came. So I just wanted to like give thanks that we wouldn't have known then how much it meant from then till now. But already, even in you asking your need, your admission of your need created access for other people.
Yeah.
To have self-reliance work.
Yeah.
So I just want to highlight that and say thank you for your will for your will and your power and your willpower to allow yourself to admit what you need.
Yeah. And I was just in awe of how specific I was in expressing my desires, and how much of that has played into just the way that I manage my life and the life that I've built for myself. I've been very specific because
Yeah.
even, at that part of my path, and even now, for slightly different reasons, I need what I need. And that's just the way that I operate. And I'm just proud of myself for being that specific back then
Yeah.
with what I want, what I need, and how I need it to work,
Yeah. Yeah. And within the pressure of what you were actually going through. Because just like, let's not take for granted, like right now from last week I had mentioned it briefly, and it's only increasing in a negative direction. um right now I'm going through a lot financially, and it's like, yeah, easy skanking, let's watch, because it's me that going through it, so let's go. I'm going through it, it's going through me, let's go. Let's see what this opens up. Let's see what this beckons my will to power. Right? Let's see what I'm supposed to give power to. So I'm sussing it all out. And we'll see. Go us.
We'll see.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's go.
Another part of the passing of the baton is like an entire network of people online who I feel like all of our work can benefit each other in, one way or another. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And so I just, of course, you can see, you don't have to read any of this. That's just my notes I made because I want to extract many things that you said here. And just I was like in a closing bit just for what you were just sharing. So I just want to like to reiterate, you would recommend this to who?
I would recommend this to anybody who wants to be able to earn money while still having freedom of location, freedom of time, there's also, for me personally, the freedom of choice in like the types of different jobs that you can have access to. So more freedom in general with how you earn money in general, how you work, what you do for money, when you work.
I see. I mean, this is something that we can discuss privately more. It's just coming up to me, and you know how I am already. Just like, I get all excited. So I'm also seeing a space for you, sort of like advising and consulting, like helping people find their best fit for online work. Like, what if you're not into phone sex and sales and writing? Like helping someone feel capable that there is something out there for them online. I feel like you'd be able to do that. So that's just coming to me as another service that you can offer online for work in consultancy, or however you want to do as a love offering and or both. I can see you definitely doing that. So thank you again for sharing that. I love the way you frame access, freedom of location and time and choice of the kind of job, having access to different kinds of jobs. And not just jobs, but allowing yourself. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying not just jobs for sure. Yeah, people earn money online in so many different ways, and I'm really excited to get into trying to create a course that will help people to get work online. So I feel like I have helped quite a few people to work online, and I've gotten help from quite a few people, gotten lots of information. I've earned money online in non-job fashion as well. And a lot of it helped me immensely during the pandemic. I remember in April of 2020. I remember it very well. It was 420 last year.
No way!
One of my friends from A-level traded. Now, throughout 2019, I was trading Forex for several
And we
months.
were supposed to record this yesterday.
Yeah. That was the end of 2019. But while talking to him, he was just telling me about, because you know, the market, a lot of markets crashed when the pandemic hit.
Oh.
So yeah, so I got back into trading and investing in that way, and I was able to make quite a bit of money, just chilling at home on my phone. And I recently started trading options through one of my friends from my previous sales job in St. Lucia. He actually lives in the UK right now, but he reached out to me and he trades with the company that I used to trade with, and they do like options trading, which is similar to what I was doing before, but it takes a lot less time.
Okay.
So you enter and exit the trade a lot quicker, so you don't have to monitor it as much. But he has, invited me into trade sessions with them as well, where I see them. Lots of people. There would be like hundreds, about 200 people on the call, just all trading together. They find good trades, people who have quite a bit of experience, and they're just.
I have to interrupt, sis.
Yes, yes.
So this is so interesting to me. Well, for one, we already know the obvious, that this weekend being the 4-year anniversary of the story that I'm giving, for one.
Yeah.
But secondly, I just love like my mentality of just whatever I feel like in the moment, that's what I do, because
Yeah.
I've gone like in and out of trading in particular. I do it when I feel like it, and then I go through periods where I'm just like not really doing it, and then
Yeah.
that's me seeing myself do that, like on that day just decide, okay, yeah, let me trade for a while. I stopped, I restarted, but it's just interesting how like as my life transitions through different phases, so I've done so many different things, and I'm always just in that moment of modifying what it is that I want so freely. Like I don't stick on anything, on anything.
This right here is an extracted clip. Like what you just said here, that by itself is an extracted clip. Just
Yeah,
that self-allowance to move that VAP, your inclination, and just knowing that it's just like a recipe, like not a recipe, a meal. Like I feel like making this today. I feel like making money this way today. I feel like connecting to money this way today. It's very torn. I love it. Whipping it up. I just want to whip up some resource. I just want to whip up some extra cash. I just want to whip up some extra providence in this physical form today. Go
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I love that.
I love that.
Let's hear her out.
Helping people, jumping on Zoom, showing them the trades that they're taking, and you're able to choose which ones you want to take them, and within minutes you close a trade.
Do you also feel that you're in a space where you'd be able to teach people to trade, or at least the basics of trading and what it's about?
I can definitely teach people who are looking to get into it exactly what they need, exactly set up in order to begin trading. Definitely, how it works, how you can look at a trade and see whether it's a good trade that you want to enter into, and so on. And also different ways that they can trade, because like I mentioned to you, I told you about options trading that I'm doing right now, as opposed to what I did back in 2019 was more so swing trading. So there are other ways as well, apart from trading, where you can invest in stocks and so on. There are a lot of people that I follow who teach that sort of stuff as well. So I'm able to connect people to the different resources apart from me that exist out there, guys who have a lot more experience, and they are able to teach a lot more than I can. So if the person wants to take it to another level, learn a lot more, obviously there are a lot of resources out there that I'm aware of and that I can help people get access to.
Wow, yes, so I'm just taking notes of all of that, because of course this is going up, so people might reach out to you, people might reach out to me directly for you, but people might reach out to you directly, because of course I'm going to be putting the little blurbs of this on the IG.
Yeah.
So as we say in Tamisha, preparate yourself and thank you. Prepare yourselves and celebrate the fact that you are clearly prepared, and Integral is a prepared, PAIRED. We are connected for a reason, like you and I are prepared to have this conversation, and purposefully so. I really love that you said that you're able to connect people to the different resources where you're not able to teach, so that they can feel that they have that access, because you're creating access and connection is how I see you fundamentally. And I think that's what you are doing with the writing, because you're creating pathways and ideas and opening people's mind to their own solutions. With the phone sex, that's what you do.
Dang, girl.
You say your voice, you say sales, but what you're really doing, in my mind, from my vantage, is you're creating safe spaces for connection. That's the essence of what you are transferring and trading. That's the highest commodity, real, safe, ecstatic, orgasmic connection, erotic connection, not just the sexual, not limited to anything about sex can be limited, but not only specified on sex and sensual expression, but also just energetic, just making people understand themselves, feel themselves, and feel their power, not just on a biological erotic level, but on all levels.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that about you. Thank you so much for all the chat so far. I'm still digesting. So you were saying?
Yeah, I was just saying there's so much about that. Like I love how you said, the connection that you are creating. I feel like a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, I spoke to so many people. I mean, I've been doing it throughout the entire pandemic. I feel like pandemic phone sex is all I know at this point.
Pandemic phone sex, hashtag, right? Like, I love it. It's a different thing, and so people need it more than anything, right?
Yeah.
Pandemic phone sex is the truth.
When there's a lockdown, it's so busy because people are just at home, and a lot of people just want somebody to talk to. A lot of the best, most long-term connections that I've made on there are people that, it's not even phone sex anymore. We just talk about life, about what their plans are. Sometimes we recommend books to each other. It's just, at this point, a connection. So even the phone sex itself, I feel for me, I hear almost like a sigh of relief on the phone. Like people will call and just open up about something that they feel good about, something that they have a desire for, they have a fetish for, whatever it is, but for some reason they feel like they don't have anybody that they know that they feel safe opening up to and saying that to. Not a spouse, not a friend, not anybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people have that fear that if they do say something, they might get that reaction.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, when we want to talk about ourselves, we really just want somebody who is going to receive that, receive me talking about what I like in a positive way, and give me back that sort of energy. Don't close up on me, just be open and hear me out. And because I've also felt that I've felt that way about even talking about doing phone sex for work, because it took me so long to open up on the podcast or like on our lives about what that work was.
Right.
I don't feel that way now, but I feel like a lot of people feel that way about anything that they do.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
In that realm.
And there's a nautilus process to it, right? Like we're not always where we are, and it's not even there are spaces where there are actual real time reasons to pace yourself or not share yourself, and I mean just basic privacy, yes. But then there's just I mean people's reaction, not just people's reactions, but rather privacy and how important privacy is in a world where there's so much oversharing and so much exploitation of sharing. So, I have that in my work, share what's shareable, and really tune into yourself and find out what is shareable. Like even right now, I mean, I was very cautious, very deliberate in my way of even messaging you about this, because this is your way of life. This is the way you take care of yourself and your son, which means so much to me. So I don't take it lightly. Even messaging you, I don't take it in a wheezy. I support you so much. I want you to share this with me. Like I thought a lot before I sent the message, because I know what this means to you. I know so much of, even if we haven't had this conversation in this way, and we definitely haven't had it. So this is a very exclusive conversation because we've never actually had it. Sometimes we've had conversations before and then we reference, and we share on the podcast, but this is a conversation that you and I have never had before.
Yeah.
We've touched on the reasons behind it in other spaces, but to have it in that way of you stepping fully into your power in a way of, like, we are definitely two colleagues, two consultants here having this conversation. Like that dynamic shift is very powerful. And I want you to see your power in that way. And I'm so grateful that you're taking that, that you're choosing. You don't have to, having grown the power, you don't have to choose to share it.
Yeah.
Or me or anyone, anything. And so it is really that choice that takes time to you've really mastered that ability to keep a gift and hone a gift and hone that energy, grow it and utilize it and see it work for you and see it bloom and say, I can share some of my harvest, I can share some of my cornucopia, I can share some of my overflowing well with everyone and be like, oh, you get a drop and you get a drop and you get a drop. Like, I have this down now, And I will always remember that time where you called me and you're like, hey, what's my job? I'm excited. Like, this is the only person I can call and say this to right now. Like, yeah, I think something phenomenal is gonna happen. And it's like how giving us that permission to be a single mom and be excited that you lost your job, because it's you who was granted the cosmic grace of being free from the entrapment of part-time job. Like, and I want to make that distinction that you are full-time on your own time. And I want to put that energy out there for anyone listening, that you can find that. And that's that's what it is we chose to do when we chose to have this conversation out loud. We could have had this conversation privately, but we chose to share it. Because
big us up.
I want all of us to
go us. We're so freaking phenomenal.
No, I love that you said that line, telling me you're full-time on your own time, because that's like, if there's a big three in why I choose to do anything, that's definitely one of the big three. If I can be full-time choosing, and today I actually told myself that I would sit down and plan out what my schedule would be for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's important to me because, funny enough, when I took my son to French last week, one of the ladies there said, do you work? So I said, yes, I do. She said, oh, I thought you were a housewife.
I am.
I didn't tell her that, but then afterwards, I'm talking to my friend, I'm like, I am But most people, when they ask me, I say, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom because that's
Yeah.
the first part. That's the first thing. When I'm scheduling my time, I'm scheduling based on what I have to do for the home, and the home meaning myself, my offspring, and our surroundings. And then, because to be honest with you, I work a job to supplement our life. I don't live my life to work the job. You know what I mean? So that comes first, and then I fit in. Okay, how are we gonna funnel some funds into what it is that, and it's not necessarily just funds either, it's just in general, whether it's time investment, money investment, whatever it is into my life. I just think about what it is that what it is that I have to do in general. Yeah,
Absolutely.
to facilitate
So,
us.
yeah, powerfully partnered with providence, with self, married to fulfillment, to exploration, to creativity, to the erotic soundness of ecology that is in our divine universe and in our day to day, in the livity of home have, self have, family have, self and kinetic network. We have it in us to do everything, anything to supplement ourselves and each other, and being in full liberty practice of that. Yeah, I'm a housewife. Sure, I am that. Yes, I am that. 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 I am.
Yeah, but
Go.
it's something I've said to myself before. Like before she said that, I've called myself that because that's how I feel, you know.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So
absolutely. And she only said it because
that was the
it's
energy
true.
that
Yes, and you were exuding that so much. It's on tilt, it's on overflow, it's bombastic, it's Jupiterian, it's Uranus, it's the revolutionary erotic joy on the planet, and you're embodying that, and you're always learning new ways.
Yes. And to I just want to add to that and say that when I say that the earning is to supplement the life, it's not to say that there is no purpose in what it is that I do. I think what it is for me that really brings that point home is the fact that what I do right now, the writing, I just saw 7-Eleven on that's our countdown, right?
Yes.
What I do, I remember 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I would wake up and the first thing that I would do every single day is write at least 2 pages in my diary.
Yeah.
It was a huge part of my morning ritual. The one thing that I would refuse to leave out of my morning ritual is to sit down and write, just express myself in writing. Sometimes it was because I wanted to get something out, but other times it was just because I wanted to feel how I put the words together and how they sound to me. And I just liked the way that I express things. I enjoyed doing that, and I would do it every single morning. So what it is that the way that I want to express myself in life has helped me earn so that I can continue to express myself in this life. My life is my purpose, and my purpose is my life. So that's what it is to have that kind of freedom for me. It's me being myself and being able to sustain myself from that.
Boom Shakti Lak. Let's go. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I do too. It feels good to acknowledge that for sure.
Oh, yeah. And that's why we're taking the time to stop and do this, to really take the time and listen and again, recollect and see like, oh yeah, like I've been out here doing that. I've been out here on my Hathor. I've been out here like being that abundant cornucopia in exemplar form. I've been living it, and it's my purpose, ecologically supplementing, supporting, being a sucker of my life, like source of my life, and vice versa, the symbiotic. And also my purpose meaning interest, and sacred dialogue would be interest. So whatever I can restfully find inspiration and connection to gives that to me as well. And I can restfully, buoyantly show up here, be me to her, administer myself to her, let the space administer itself to me. We can intercourse, interrelate through that interest, and it gives you compounding interest. It pays to pay attention to your truthful details, how you really feel, how you really want to express yourself, how you really want to show up to the works of your willpower and your inspiration and your erotic devotion to who you're finding out you are. Oh, I'm so happy for us. Happy birthday season. This is awesome. Let's go. Let's go. And let's go means like, let's sit in it more. Not necessarily let's continue listening and playing, but let's continue that we're in it. Let's go. We're in it. We're in the sauce, really marinating.
Feeling the digestion process of this session.
Yes.
This part of it was delicious, honestly.
Yeah.
And I feel it on so many levels. And seeing that this was about a little over 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, maybe. And still digesting that in new ways. It's almost like I'm experiencing a new recipe of an old favorite right now.
Yes. It's like, but girl, so wait, how you know, like you come by your friend, like we buy each other, and like that's what you just put in your cocoa tea. How I never thought of putting that in my cocoa tea, like for sure.
Yes.
Like how you changed my life, like how I never thought of putting that in my cocoa tea. It's still your cocoa tea, and when you make it with whatever that is, and when I make it, it will still taste different because it's our hand.
Yeah.
Right? But still, it's like, boy, Vel put me on to putting the black pepper in my cocoa tea. And that's that I'm sharing.
Okay.
And that and wow. Also, it cuts out me because that's why we do it. Hindu culture.
The black pepper?
Yeah. Okay. But it gives it that zing. It gives it a little woo!
Yeah.
Little, you know.
I was thinking something just came to me recently, and I'm like, why don't I put ginger? Because I don't put ginger in my cocoa tea, and I'm like, I need to had no, I don't. My basic recipe for cocoa tea, which I've been using ever since I gave birth to now.
Yes.
But when I gave birth, I didn't put spices because I had to, stop spices for a while. But I put my spices, boaden, cinnamon, the star anise, the cloves, nutmeg. Yes, I boil those and my cocoa stick. And then I add coconut milk and custard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now some people put in oil, butter on top of the.
I'm so glad you said oil. Oh my gosh, because when I was a child, I always saw cocoa tea look like it had oil. The first time my mother asked me to make cocoa tea, I had no idea how to make it because I'd never done it. So I asked her, at what point do you put in the oil? And she looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, you ever have people put in oil in cocoa tea?
Now, it have its own oil, but people, I have heard people putting oil in it and butter, but it has its own natural oil. It is oil in it.
But they're making
it's
it
oily.
Proof.
Yeah, it has its own fat. The cocoa has its own fat. So it has that oil, but some people put it, I'm like, but
I think I'll have to make some cocoa tea just now.
Yeah. I mean,
I have boiling.
These are the real signs. Did you do your bay leaf ritual yet? You burn your bay leaf yet?
I have it on the counter, and I have the rest of the leaves boiling right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So invitation. I know we are having challenges, and of course we both appreciate each other's time, life. But I really want to like draw this out
Mhm.
If you want to just push through, we can, but I think it's good to just do these short